by miracle of sound. All right, and welcome back to the Shardbreaker podcast. This is episode 2 of Alloy of Law, first book in Mistborn Era 2. We did chapters 4 through 6 this week. I am Midnight, your host, and I'm here with Mythic.
Hello.
And Darkness.
Hello.
All right. So, let's get straight into it. I keep forgetting we don't have epigraphs in this book. I keep wanting to be like, okay, the epigraph is. But we don't have any this book. So we start with Wax swearing by Harmony's forearms. Just such a good fucking swear. By Harmony's just the most random thing. As he steps into the Yeoman Mansion ballroom. It's the night of the Yeoman wedding party, and Wax thinks that there are more people here than in some towns in the Roughs. It was mainly politicians and the wealthy elite, all in well-tailored suits and fancy dresses. Steris is at the party with him, and she seems to have calculated a dress to wear that is in fashion, but not too daring. Wax comments to her about the number of people invited, and Steris replies that they'd likely invite everyone except for a few specific people that are meant to be left out on purpose. Wax takes Steris' arm in a way that she had instructed him to do during the ride over, as Steris goes on about the Yeomans, including that they follow a religion called Sliverism. She finds it a distasteful religion that specifically worships Iron Eyes. Steris then points out a man named Lord Shrewerman, who is a horrid party guest, but states that he was likely invited as an extra insult to the people who were not invited. Wax makes some jokes about the Roughs, but Steris states that she won't be replying to those, as she believes he is uncomfortable with marriage and using those jokes as a way to act out. So what do you think about the politics of inviting certain people to a party and others not being invited?
Very modern, very,
It's like, yeah,
very
you
up
invited
there.
this awful guy and not you. Get fucked.
I mean, it's something people actually do, though, you know?
I'm sure it is. I'm not wealthy enough to be invited to parties like that, so I've
Oh,
I've
you're
never
not?
experienced
I'm
it.
so sorry for
Yeah,
assuming
sorry.
that.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm just. I'm not. I don't get invited to fancy parties like that. Where
You
people
must
get
be one of
specifically
those people,
disinvited.
then.
Yeah, you're definitely one of those people for sure.
Uh-huh. What did you think about it, Mythic?
About people not getting invited?
Yeah.
It's like my life, honestly.
Also, what did you think about this religion
Ooh.
that follows Iron Eyes?
I don't even know what that is.
So,
I know what that is,
yeah.
but
So apparently, yeah, there's a religion called Sliverism. Also, what do you think the name of the religion means? Sliverism.
they have a sliver of metal inside them.
Do you know what it means, Darkness?
Maybe it's... I feel like, have we not... Has this not been brought up before, like, in past books?
So no, this is a new religion.
No, I know,
but-
but, like, the involvement of, like, slivers of something, you know what I mean?
So yeah, so what I'm getting at is it's a reference to something in First Era. There's a person
Uh-huh.
called the Sliver of Infinity.
That's what I was remembering, yeah.
Yeah. So do you remember who calls himself a Sliver of Infinity or a Sliver of a God?
The one, I can't remember what his name is, for sure. Why can't I remember names?
You want to describe the person?
It's not Ellen's brother, right? Or whatever it was.
No, not Zane. No.
Right. Okay.
Oh, no, I wasn't thinking Zane. I was thinking the other guy, though, that was on his team that got turned into a thing.
Or are you thinking Marsh? Is that what you're thinking?
Is it Marsh? Is that the guy's name?
That's
Maybe.
Kelsier's brother.
No,
That's what you're thinking.
that's
No?
not who I'm thinking of. No, the one that is it? Oh, that's Kelsey's brother. Yeah. Wait, yeah, the one that was
So
a copper
yeah, so
mine. Or
it's
whatever, right?
not. I mean, Iron Eyes potentially. I think you thought of this last time. Is that Iron Eyes may refer to Marsh because Marsh got turned into a Inquisitor. However, the Sliver of Infinity is what the Lord Ruler called himself because he had touched the powers of God, which was
Right.
preservation. So he called himself like a sliver of that because he had a sliver of that power. So he called himself the Sliver of Infinity, and so it's specifically the Yeoman family is the people following this religion, which, if you remember, Yeoman was the guy who, even after the Lord Ruler died, was like, no, the Lord Ruler's God, he's going to come back, this is all thanks to him. So apparently his family has followed in the footsteps, and they still follow, potentially, an Inquisitor who they consider probably the remnants of the Lord Ruler's reign. So this religion is all still about the Lord Ruler being God, as far as I can tell, based on the name.
Huh.
Which is probably why it's considered a distasteful religion.
Probably. Yeah, let's worship the guy who enslaved us, basically.
Yeah, I mean, Yeoman's family didn't get enslaved though. They were cool. They were obligators and stuff. So yeah, it seems like he's passed on his thoughts on the Lord Ruler to his descendants, Yeoman. So yeah, I found that interesting. The kind of references back and how yeoman was very insistent that the Lord Ruler was not dead, and if he was dead, it was his plan all along. So Stairs lets go of Wax's arm to give kisses on the cheeks to some of the women that were distant relatives, and Wax nods his head politely to them and smiles. The bride and groom then arrive, and Wax wonders why they seem to be talking to a scruffy man who looked like a beggar. I wonder who a scruffy man who looks like a beggar could be, guys.
Yeah, totally.
Who would be at a very important party, right where he needs to be, potentially, right where things are happening.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just a beggar though, no one important.
It's usually how it works.
Right, we invite them to parties all the time.
So dinner then begins getting served, and Wax notices 2 balconies on either end of the room that are being used for harpists at the moment. He also notices 6 massive chandeliers and 12 smaller ones lighting the room, and thinks about how difficult it would have been to light all of these before electric lights. Wax thinks about how glad he was that his uncle sold their ballroom, as it had been as big as this one, and he didn't want to host parties like this one. Steris gestures for them to join her father and cousin at a table. Wax asks about Marassi, and Steris replies that she was from the outer estates and had wanted a chance to go to university in the city. Marassi's parents didn't have the funds for it, so Steris' father was hosting Marassi throughout her studies. Wax thinks the explanation comes out of Steris' mouth too quickly. After greeting Steris' family, he sits down and begins thinking about different ways that people could attack this room. However, he eventually stops and his train of thought, as he thinks he shouldn't be thinking that way anymore. So what did you think about Wax's instincts to, like, check for exits, think of, like, ways people could get in and fight and stuff?
I mean, that's
smart.
Kind of worked out in this situation. So Wax tries to make some conversation with Marassi about her studies, but she gives him short answers, saying she's in her final year and that her studies are going well. A server then comes over to pour them wine and talk about the soup that they will be served. Wax instantly recognizes the server as Wayne, who is in a disguise. Wayne is pretending to be Terrace, although he technically is part Terrace, and is wearing a fake nose, a wig, and a line of fake Terrace earrings. Once Wayne leaves, Marassi mentions that he looks familiar, but Wax quickly moves the conversation away from Wayne. So what do you think about Wayne showing up, praying to be a server?
he is one. What do you mean?
I knew he would show up, though, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. I find it amusing how much his speed bubble helps with that stuff, though.
Yeah, his speed bubbles are super useful. He's really good with them. So Wax then asks about Lord Harms's relative that was kidnapped recently, but it seems there had been no updates. Marassi then asks about Wax's time in the roughs, which earns her a glare from Lord Harms, and Wax mentions that people out in the roughs thought that as long as they had a gun, they could just take things and do what they wanted. Marassi then asks about a specific group that Wax fought, catching him off guard as he asks how she knows about it. She just states that rumors get around.
Yeah, okay.
Wax then takes a sip of his drink and finds a bullet casing that Wayne had dropped inside of it. He stops himself from spitting it out in surprise and coughs to get the bullet out of his mouth and into his hand. Marassi then asks Wax a few more questions about how many people there were in the town out in the roughs and how many lawmen usually oversaw it. She then compares it to the number of constables in the city and states that they only have half the number of lawmen per person in the city compared to the roughs, although there is likely less crime in the city. She then goes on about the different types of crime in the city versus the roughs and how people can get away with smaller crimes in the city. What do you think about Marassi's discussions on how many constables there are out here in the city?
She seems very leading. She's trying to lead something.
I mean, it was a pretty, like, interesting depiction of how it collaborates with, like, each other, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But also, to, like, I feel like it would need way more study than how she just put it together, you know?
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's obviously probably something that she's been thinking about, so she seems interested in, like, all the law stuff that happens out in the roughs, and we'll find out later that she's studying, like, law and police work and everything, so she's kind of like, this is kind of her, like, expertise and, like, what she's interested in. So Lord Harms is annoyed with Marassi's talk of crime, but Wax is intrigued. Steris just rolls her eyes. Wayne then returns and serves them their soup, and Wax finally opens the bullet casing to see a small note that says he had been right. Wax tries to get more information out of Wayne quietly, but they are too close to the others for Wayne to put up a speed bubble. Wayne continues his role as server and states he will be back soon with a bread basket and more wine. Steris says they should come up with conversation ideas, excluding politics and religion. Wax idly mentions a time he accidentally shot a dog in the tail while aiming for its balls. When Steris seems upset, Wax replies that he was just testing her hypothesis that he couldn't shock her anymore. Wax mentions how he'd been considered refined in the roughs, but Lord Harms makes a joke about that being like calling a brick soft when hitting someone in the face with it. Steris is upset by the jokes, and Marassi asks about Wax throwing a knife into someone's eye, and Wax admits he'd been aiming for their balls at that time too, and that he wasn't good with throwing knives. So what did you think about Wax kind of like purposely trying to upset Steris?
I thought it was funny. Yeah.
Steris stalks off, and Lord Harms blames Marassi, but Wax replies that it's his fault and he'd apologize when she's back. He also states he'll hold his tongue for the rest of the night. Lord Harms states that Steris is like her mother before leaving to have a drink with a friend of his. Marassi and Wax then talk some more about his work in the Roughs, and Wax mentions how he seems a little upset to know that maybe the city that he had left had needed him more than the Roughs had. Marassi states some more facts about the Roughs, and Wax wonders how she knows so much about his time out there. Wax thinks about how he had always thought of the city as safe and the Roughs as needing saving. This was because Harmony had created the basin as a place of plenty, where fertile farming lands never got out-farmed and always had water. However, the Vanishers are proving that the Constables aren't as able to take care of the city as Wax had thought. Wayne then returns with more wine and notes that Lord Harms and Steris are gone. Marassi smiles at Wayne, and Wax realizes that she recognizes him. Wayne also seems to realize this, and he stops the accent, mentioning that she seems less shy than when they first met.
Yeah.
Razzie says she'd been practicing being shy and wasn't very good at it. Waxon says Wayne is sulking for his disguise not working as he eats some bread and some of Steris' soup. So what did you think about Marassi kind of like knowing so much about Wax and Wayne?
I mean, didn't shock me after the fact because it was like, yeah, it kind of makes sense. Like, why would you just be that person who's like, I want to be in this meeting, I want to talk to this person, unless you had like a infatuation with them in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, it's kind of weird that like your cousin would come to like an arranged marriage meeting with you.
Honestly, I like her more than I like the other girls, so.
Are you talking today? Oh, okay. Never mind. Your model was moving.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I was eating while you guys were talking.
What? You can't eat while we're talking? That's so disrespectful.
But yeah, you're saying you like Marassi more than Steris, Darkness?
Yeah.
I agree.
Wayne also seems to like Marassi a lot more than Steris, but apparently Marassi is half of Wax's age. Like, Wax is like 42. I think Marassi's in her 20s. So he's like, no.
So who cares?
Wax
This time-
obviously cares.
Honestly, yeah, there's
this
been
time
ways,
and
but
age?
also she can shoot.
Yeah, like, perfect, man. You know, all that time in the girls shooting or whatever.
Maybe Wayne should date her. Wayne's closer to her age. He's in his 30s.
Oh my god. I don't think her and Wayne would get along.
Really? I think they do. She seems amused by him,
so.
unlike Steris.
No, I think she'd be amused. Sure. I think Wayne'd get tired of her.
So Marassi refuses to say why she was pretending to be more timid as she doesn't want to upset her uncle and cousin. Wayne then uses a speed bubble to change out of his waiter's uniform so he doesn't get in trouble for eating at one of the tables. Marassi is awed by it as she hadn't seen him do anything. Wax just explains how Wayne did it and where all of his outfit had come from.
Doesn't every time he uses that speed bubble, isn't he like burning metal?
Yes.
So like he just has like this practically unlimited supply.
No, because he comments throughout the fight later on how much time he has left of his medals. He'll be like, oh, I have like 5 minutes left of Bendaloy, or I have 20 seconds left of Bendaloy.
Where does he supply all his shit, you know?
I mean, he says it's expensive. He obviously bought some in the city and probably consumed it ahead of time, or he consumed it while in a speed bubble.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Like, but he goes into speed bubbles for like everything. So like, I feel like
he
he'd be
sounds like he's
burning
spending all of his money on Bendaloy. But again, it also might be one of the like the slower burning metals, because remember the metals don't all burn at the same rate.
True.
So it might just be like has like
Renee,
one vial of metal and he gets like 10 minutes of speed bubble.
Or he can just turn it on and off over and over again. Yeah.
Yeah, because he goes in for like 30 seconds, strategizes, jumps out, and when
Changes
he's
outfits.
yeah, changes outfits, and then we see him. I think when we see him fighting later, he like goes into a bubble to avoid some bullets, goes behind the person, comes back out of the bubble.
How big is the bubble again?
Not very big. I think he says.
5 feet?
I think in the last chapters he says 5 feet across. Basically a D&D square, which is gonna be great for the RPG when it comes out.
Yeah, for sure.
You get one little tile of on the map of
5
speed
foot
bubble.
square. Yeah.
Yep, centered on yourself.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's big enough that if you're sitting
like
at a table,
honestly, it'd be like time stop.
it pretty much
Like,
is time stop. I think
like
people are moving
small
very
time
slowly,
stop.
so if like I think if something's very close to happening, like it might still happen, but like yeah, it's almost time stopping. I mean, also as we learned in Mistborn Era 1, like a lot I think of the Mistborns the Mistings that we saw were possibly savants with their metals because of how often they use them. Like, considering now there's no Mistborns and just Mistings and Ferris and everything, like, it's very possible that we could see a lot of people who are savants, so, like, Wayne could also just be a Bendaloy savant, and that's why he's able to, because of how often he uses it. And so maybe his use of it is also just better than the average person because of that.
It's true.
Because I think we know, because Spook becomes a tin savant, and we know Breeze was, was he bronze? I think he was bronze, no, he wasn't bronze. He
Oh.
was, what was he? He was soothing, and I'm forgetting what the metal is. It was either zinc or brass? No. Might have been zinc. It was either zinc or the opposite of zinc. I'm not sure off the top of my head. Yeah, like he was a savant because I think the Tensoon says at one point, like, oh yeah, because he's so good at it, like he could probably take over a Koloss or a Khandra if he really tried. So.
If my note, or not note, but my table thing is correct, it was brass.
It was brass, okay. I was second guessing myself on whether brass was one of the metals or not. Because I was like, I'm pretty sure zinc is a rider. So yeah, okay. So Marasi refuses. Oh, we read that. Was I? Oh yeah, so it was Wax describing where the outfit had come from. He wasn't surprised when Wayne mentions that part of his outfit was under the table. Wayne is in shock to hear there were stories about them, although Marasi states their personalities usually aren't mentioned much. Wayne is also upset though that they didn't get paid royalties with these news stories. Wayne then starts talking about women, but Wax stops him. Marasi then admits that she is studying law in university, although she's embarrassed by it because she's been told it isn't very feminine of her. She's also embarrassed to be sitting with the two famous lawmen, although Wax states that they don't know as much as she probably thinks that they do. Wax then mentions that Steris and Lord Harms will likely be back soon, so Wayne should mention whatever he wanted to talk about now. So what do you think about Marasi, like, feeling embarrassed that she's studying law?
Why she would be embarrassed?
Why would she be embarrassed?
I'm assuming I'm assuming it's either her uncle or maybe her parents or something. Like, someone's obviously told her, like, this is not a very ladylike thing for you to study in university. You shouldn't tell people about it.
Bruh.
Because she's obviously very passionate, but she's like, oh yeah, they don't want me talking about it. Lord Harm specifically makes her shut up when she starts talking about like crime and like the roughs and stuff. So it sounds like for some reason it's not considered a very like wealthy ladylike profession or like thing to study.
I mean, it's shooting guns. I would assume it's not very ladylike.
Shooting guns and tracking down criminals. Not ladylike,
Seems
probably
more like
especially for
man's
richer
work.
people.
Yeah, it sounds more like man's work, anyways.
Uh,
She should just go back to the kitchen, right? That's women's work.
I feel like the people on Roshar would disagree. They're like, no, there's probably a lot of writing involved in that. It definitely sounds like a woman's job.
Yeah, exactly. But we're not in Roshar, right?
No, I know. I just find that funny.
Yeah, I do too. I find it funny that the two of the worlds are like completely different in their ideology like that.
So Wayne then states that Wax was right about all of the hostages being Allomancers and shows Wax a page of research he did on the ancestry of women. They were all descendants of the Lord Mistborn, and thus had strong Allomantic bloodline. Marasi then jumps in about how she had thought Wax was only the sage to investigate the Vanishers, but Wax tells her that isn't the case. Wayne then asks if Wax brought a gun because this wedding reception was the best place for them to pretend to rob rich people while kidnapping another descendant of the Lord Mistborn. Wax realizes this as well as the doors to the room burst open. So what do you think about all of these kidnapped women being descendants of Spook? Sounds like Spook had a few kids, probably.
Lovely. I did not see that coming.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense because he would obviously, as I said in the last episode, Spook was the
The
only
only
Mistborn left for him. Yeah, so he would have the strongest, like, Allomantic powers and the strongest Allomantic bloodline. So all of these people who they're targeting are, like, specifically Spook's descendants.
Yeah, they're probably really strong in whatever they're, using.
They either have really strong Allomantic abilities or, like, if they have children of, like, a specific with Allomantic powers, they'll probably have stronger Allomantic powers than someone who's like a descendant of Breeze or someone.
Or maybe Spook just wants like a little family gathering.
Spook's actually behind the whole thing. He's just trying to like get all of
Try to
his
gather his family together. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that plan. I like that idea. That theory is good.
I don't know if it's
Spook
in
is
this
definitely
book.
alive.
I don't know if it's in this book or another one, but like the research into the descendants, I'm pretty sure implies that Spook had like a dozen kids or something. Like it's
Damn,
ridiculous.
that's not ridiculous.
It's a bit ridiculous.
Nah.
Can
You're
you
gonna have,
remember
like,
how he
12
used
kids,
to be
right?
too? Like he was so shy and stuff.
I know, he's just like pumping out kids with Beldray. It's like, Jesus Christ, Spook. Chill the fuck out.
Hey man, his swimmers are swimming.
God. Say's actually also increased his fertility when he gave him Mistborn powers.
Oh God.
Yeah, I agree. I think that was a great idea for him.
Oh my gosh. Anyways, chapter 5.
I mean, after all, his love interest died, you know? He had
he
to
got a
settle with
new
the other one.
girlfriend.
No,
He got a new
he had to
girlfriend.
settle with the other one.
No, he creepily stalked her. It was great. He really loved her.
Yeah, just like he creepily stalked Vin.
He creepily stalked Vid less.
Yeah,
He was
okay.
very creepily stalking Baldry. He's like, I know why you're sad, Baldry. I know everything about you.
Oh, yeah, because I've stalked you for your entire life, apparently.
Spook is such a creep.
Uh,
Yeah, that's why he's the best.
No. Anyways, chapter 5. We start this chapter with Wax taking in the appearance of the bandits. They wore different clothing than criminals did in the roughs, and they were well armed. 2 or 3 dozen bandits had entered the room, and Wax sees more coming from the kitchens. Wayne pulls out 2 dueling canes, but Wax tells him to put them away as the robberies never get violent, and there are 300 or 400 bystanders here that Wax does not want getting injured or killed
Yeah,
as Wayne chose to
never
fight.
gets violent.
I mean, it really only got violent because of the one fucking ex-constable.
It never gets
right.
violent.
That dude was so fucking annoying.
I know,
Yeah.
right? It's like, dude, shut the fuck up.
Like,
And sit your ass
have
down.
you never heard of valuing your life? Like, goddamn.
Like, not even his own life. It's like you're putting all of these people in danger. It's not like you're going one-on-one with this guy. But yeah, so Wayne sulks that Wax isn't in charge of him anymore, but he does sit back down. So Marassi
Sounds like somebody's in charge of you.
He's like, you're not in charge of me, but I guess I'll listen.
Well,
You're not my dad.
you're not my boss anymore.
You put me in charge. You retired.
Yeah, yet he was very much hoping that, he was going to fight. So
Yeah. So Marassi then begins
like, you
right.
brought a gun, right? You brought a gun, right?
Wax is like, no, I didn't bring a gun. Definitely didn't bring a gun. Just 3 guns. So Marassi begins writing down descriptions of the men, rambling about how most people don't remember criminals properly. One of the bandits then shouts for everyone to be quiet, and Wax.
First off, when she said that, I was like, this woman is either the smartest or dumbest person.
I think she was
Because-
panicking and just relying on like her knowledge from classes. She's like, yes, I remember. This is what's supposed to happen when you see crimes happening. I must write it all down because people don't remember properly, and I'm panicking, and I'm just gonna write things.
Yeah, but like it's super smart because if she gets away with it, great. Now you have a like detailed description of this person. But when you don't get away with it, yeah. But when you don't get away with it,
they get angry at you.
yeah, kind of backfires.
Yeah.
It was like,
They need to invent cell phones, and then you can take like little photos
Yeah.
of them without them noticing.
candid photos
Yeah.
real quick, yeah. And then they take your cell phone and they see the photo and they're like,
No, Wax will hide the photo under the table with his powers, like he did with the book for a little bit, until she started writing in it again.
Jesus Christ, she is so bad at that.
I mean, she is panicking. It's her first time in that sort of situation.
Yeah, it's her first time, We'll panic.
So one of the bandits then shouts for everyone to be quiet, and Wax notices that he has a faint Ruff's accent and grey skin, meaning that he has Koloss blood. Wax notes that the bride's mother had fainted, and the groom had thrown a protective arm around his wife. Another bandit steps forward, this one wearing a cloth mask. Wax finds something familiar in his voice.
Does it mean does Koloss blood mean that he is a Koloss or that he's like part Koloss?
I can explain a little bit, but first I want to see what do you get? That was my question. Is what do you guys think Koloss blooded people are?
It better not be people whose parents fucked the Koloss, because I'm gonna freak the fuck out.
That's kind of what I was like trying to get at. Like, that motherfuckers are huge.
That was what part of my question is. Like, I'd be like, do you think it's just that they had people who fucked Koloss, or like, do you think Seize
It
did
better be
something
some
to
science
Koloss,
experiment.
or
Nah.
because this guy's definitely
better be
like, he's definitely not like a giant 5-person amalgamation with like skin that's falling off of him like the Koloss used to be. He just has grayish skin and is apparently stronger. So he's obviously not like the old style Koloss. But the question is, are old style Koloss still
you're saying
around?
You're saying his grandparents fucked the Koloss.
Yeah,
Possibly.
that's what I thought when they were like, he's got Koloss blood. I was like, so somebody had sex with a Koloss?
But the thing is, remember, Koloss
Had children?
couldn't reproduce that way in the past. The only way to make
Okay,
new Koloss
but
was to
here's
take
the thing.
corpses.
Okay, but did they try with a human?
Yeah, I mean, they did, I'm sure. Not to get raunchy or anything, but I'm sure with their pillaging and like attacking things, they probably forced themselves on one woman at least once. One of them probably thought about it. But aside from that, I mean, just like you said, Seize could have just changed them a little bit and made it so that they can reproduce. Like,
Yeah. So I believe the Koloss definitely were not fertile in any way in the past. I don't even know if they actually had genitals in Mistborn Era 1. However, I believe I think we'll get a proper description potentially in the Allomancer Jack short story about Kolos, but I believe Seize does enough to change them that they can be their own race of people, which is how you've obviously gotten this like cross-bred like part
So
Kolos
people did
person.
fuck Kolos.
Yes.
Oh my god.
I love that your round the bush explanation of literally just they fucked Kolos.
They were slightly different. They weren't exactly the same as they used to be, but yeah, basically they fucked
Nobody
Kolos.
nobody in this world even knows what Kolos were before, I'm sure.
It depends if they were mentioned in the words of founding that Save Left Behind.
Even if they were, like, does that give them like pictures and like, it gives you a detailed description, but people misconstrue that shit all the time.
That's true. But yeah, so there's Kolos blood people. Apparently instead of having blue skin, they end up with gray skin. From being like I guess the mixture of like brown and peach colored skins with blue.
Yeah.
But yeah, we get a whole in like I said, I think we might do it between this book and the next book. Do an episode of Alamancer Jack, and they meet a bunch of Kolos, like a group of Kolos in that. We will get a picture during. I can do potentially a Kolos blood person, but I'm gonna leave a picture of newer Kolos until we actually get more about them.
What about that guy?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We'll get a Kolos blooded Mistborn. Let's see if I can find a. No, those are the original Kolos. Give me Era 2. Mistborn Era 2? Kolos blooded? Why am I only getting... Oh, damn. Okay. This person made an OC of what they would have as a Kolos blooded person look like if they played one. I don't know how accurate this is, but this was someone's depiction of
Oh,
a really cool-looking Kolos blooded person.
It kind of reminds me of in Warbreaker with the like dead person that they were like not carrying around, but like walking around with them and shit.
Here we go. Here's a one on the left side. These are I think a few just like some examples of people from.
They look cool.
Or two. Yeah, they're basically just people with like gray skin.
That's kind of cool. I definitely like the picture above it.
I thought they were gonna be all saggy looking.
Way better.
No, yeah, they're not saying they're basically humans with as I said, with gray skin and who are a bit stronger than a normal person.
Definitely different than the Kolos from before. That's for sure.
Yeah, but remember this isn't a full-blooded Kolos. This is just someone with some Kolos blood.
Yeah.
There's some actual Kolos that we'll meet in Alamancer Jack short story.
No, we won't meet them in this book.
I don't think so. I think because they generally don't live they don't live in the city or anything. They live like off in like wherever, their own little colony. So
this whole book's gonna take place in the city?
It takes Mistborn mainly takes place in the city / some of the Roughs and some of like the other cities in the Elendel Basin is where like all 4 of the books take place, and they don't go like super far out exploring. But yeah, so the bandits begin collecting jewelry from the guests, and Wayne again shoots Wax a look, but Wax insists that he won't have anyone dying here because of him. Sorry, she just came away and tried to take my food away from me.
What? No!
Wait,
he did what?
He tried to
take
my food.
Wow.
I had a little bit of food left. Yep. He was trying to clean up, and I had a little bit of food left.
No, he just tried to take it. Don't try to make it sound better. He's trying to steal your food.
Yeah, he doesn't want anyone dying. He can't help but think about Leslie dying. However, one of the guests stands up, upset, and is apparently a retired constable. Some of the bandits surround him and take away his weapons as the man shouts that they should be ashamed to rob a wedding. The masked bandit states that it's payback for how the city-goers treat people out in the roughs. The ex-constable claims that he'll have them hanged, but the masked man tells him to shut up.
You should have listened.
But yeah, so what did you think about this ex-constable antagonizing the bandits?
An absolute Chad.
Oh yeah, for sure. An absolute Chad who gets shot in the head and killed.
Yeah.
Absolute Chad, though, when he goes out, just saying. I mean, he kind of goes out like a bitch, but still.
He does. He doesn't take his guns. It's like, if you're gonna be that much of like an antagonizer, at least like keep your guns on you.
It's the fact that he doesn't do anything but open his mouth that pisses me off.
Yeah, exactly. It's like he never tries to do anything. So Wax notes that the men actually seem interested in getting money from the robbery, but that it didn't seem to be complete, and it's not completely just to hide the real intentions of the kidnappings. The Kolos-led man then comes over to take their jewelry, and Wax takes Marassi's notebook and also puts some steel shavings in his wine. He hides the notebook and Wayne's dueling canes using some steel and pushing it up onto the table. He then gives Wayne a code phrase. Marassi hands over her pearl necklace and pocketbook, while Wax acts scared as he hands over his watch. The man then pats down Marassi, making her speak to check her mouth, and then gropes her a bit, which causes Wax's eye to twitch.
Oh,
What a jerk, right?
oh my God! When he said that, and then the next thing that happens when he was like, "Oh, you fucked up," I was like, "Oh, you fucked up."
The man then takes Wayne's hat because Wayne pretends to be someone who snuck into the kitchens earlier. Wayne is annoyed that his lucky hat is stolen, but Wax tells him to calm down. He also mentions how some of the bills in his pocketbook were marked, which will make things easier for the constables trying to track down where the money goes later on. Wax then notices that the men seem to have drawings in their hands and are checking the women's faces thoroughly, meaning they were looking to kidnap someone specific tonight. So what do you think about the bandits having all these drawings of specific people they're looking for?
Man, it's just a family reunion, you know.
Maybe the coolest blood man is also related to Spook. Maybe he is maybe Spook got it on with a
Oh
Colos
my
at some point.
Oh my God, he
Everybody's
fucked the
related to
Kolos.
Spook. Everybody's related to Spook, obviously.
I mean,
Spook is the Adam of this world.
Wax pretty much says that in some way, pretty much everyone's related to everyone at this point.
Yep. That's what I'm saying. Spook is the Adam of this world. And whatever her name is, she's the Eve, I guess.
Eldred.
Yeah, I guess.
So some bandits then come into the room with some women that were likely grabbed from the restroom. Steris was among them. The bandit leader and one of the others then make a loud show of talking about taking a random 2 hostages. They specifically choose Steris and Marassi, which Wax realizes he shouldn't be surprised by, considering they already had a relative that had been kidnapped. The bandits that grab Marassi notice her notebook, and the one of them that can't read notices that it has descriptions of them in it. The bandit holds a gun.
Looks like me.
The bandit holds a gun to Marassi's head, causing Wax to stand and get a gun pointed at his face as well. The men don't shoot Marassi, though, and instead pull her off. So what do you think about Marassi and Steris being targeted for the kidnappings?
Wonder which one is Spook's grandchild and great.
I mean, they're related, so probably both of them are related to Spook in some way.
Yeah.
What do you think, Darkness, about Marassi and Steris being targeted?
I'm more interested in which one he's gonna choose.
Oh, gosh. So Wayne then whispers to Wax about wanting to fight and that Leslie's death wasn't Wax's fault. But Wax can see that the men are eager to use their guns, so he doesn't want to provoke them. However, the ex-constable apparently doesn't notice this and begins making a scene again. The bandits ignore him at first, but then one shoots the man. Wayne mutters that the bandit made a mistake, and the leader shouts...
You made a mistake! I was like, oh, baby, here it comes.
And the leader shouts that the bandits can get their bloodlust out for tonight. Wayne then puts up a speed bubble, causing everything to go silent around them. Wayne seriously glances around the room, keeping track of each and every I love seeing Wayne get super serious, because he's suddenly he's such a jokester, and he's like, I'm keeping track. He's like, it's just going down now.
Mm-hmm.
So he keeps track of each and every bandit. Wax pulls out a pistol, stating that he tried to give the bandits a chance to leave without anyone getting hurt. Wayne then jokes about Wax lying to him about not bringing a gun, but Wax replies that he didn't bring one gun, as he pulls out another one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it wasn't a lie. He then
It
asks
wasn't.
Wayne.
He's not wrong.
He then asks Wayne how much Bendeloy he has, which apparently isn't much as it's expensive, but his gold metal mines are full, as he had been sick in bed for 2 weeks. Wax then says he's going to go after Marassi and Steris,
Barochemist.
and for Wayne to cover him. He also states that they need to try and protect the bystanders, which will be hard because there are 37 bandits.
Apparently, though, not hard enough.
Wayne then jokes that he really came back to the city because he couldn't leave Wax to live a boring life. So, were you surprised that Wax had brought guns with him to the wedding party?
Oh, not at all.
No.
Also, what do you think about Wayne using his speed bubble to spend time strategizing and keeping track of where all the bandits were?
It's valid.
Yep.
Take out a little notebook,
The speed bubble just seems so useful.
Yeah, I was just watching a D&D game
I
where
wonder-
somebody used time stop and then did 4 fireballs.
Mm-hmm.
They were just like, oh, I have all 4 turns. Fireball, 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 fireball.
I feel like we definitely will need to do, when the Cosmere TTRPG comes out, we're going to have to do some, campaign or something with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm going to be a half Kolos for sure.
I'm gonna be full Kolos. No.
Oh, gosh.
Brother?
More like father. No.
Ooh, even better.
Fuck, I
Daddy?
forgot what I was gonna say. No. I forgot.
Okay.
It was something related to the speed bubble.
Okay.
Oh, I remember. Sorry, I was just wondering how would it affect, let's say you just have a constant stream of that metal you need to
Mm-hmm.
be in a speed bubble, right? How would it affect a person if they just constantly burn it?
Think of Flash's life forever, like his current life, like where everything around him is just going like super slow motion in comparison to how fast he moves. It's pretty much what I picture. If you were just constantly burning it.
This
Yeah, but
reminds
like,
me.
would he age?
I'm assuming you do age while in the speed bubble because I believe time for you is moving like normally.
Oh my god,
I
that'd
need,
be hilarious.
I need something that does it backwards.
You want like a like the opposite of a speed bubble to like slow down time for yourself.
Yeah,
You slow down and everybody else speeds up around you.
yes. Because
I
can
mean, you
you
make waiting
imagine,
in
like,
lines and stuff go really nice and fast.
not only that, but can you imagine if you're like, I don't feel like living in this timeline anymore, so I'm gonna speed up like and like see if the like future is better.
Let me sleep for 100 years.
That's crazy. And
A
only
five
like
minute nap would be 100
10
years.
pass for me.
Sorry, what did you say, Matthew?
How slow? I said yeah, and like only 10 pass for the person that's doing it. Yeah. How you said they're moving like super slow, like they're moving slow, right? Like the
Yeah.
people around when he activates it.
Mhm.
Like, is there a mathematical like actual thing for it,
There
or
might be on the copper mine. Let me look it up because copper mine's got a lot of good stuff. Bendeloy.
because believe me, I'm gonna start mathing this real quick and figure out if you were
The reverse of
Bendeloy,
it
external
would
temporal
be
pushing metal.
interesting.
Apparently, Bendeloy is also considered a pushing metal, so obviously the opposite is the
Yeah.
pulling one.
Interesting.
Able to squeeze time in a bubble around them, making it pass more quickly. Allomagic use. Putting Bendeloy pushes on time around the user, causing time to pass more quickly in a bubble around them. Events outside the bubble appear to move much slower. Stuff about the opposite one, which we haven't learned yet, so I'm not going to tell you. The bubbles create the area bubble stay stationary relative movement. Tell me how much slower.
Or better yet, how much faster he is inside the bubble. I mean,
Yeah.
either way. It's very interesting though that it doesn't state that it slows everything down. It states that the bubble speeds up. So like, kind of, I wouldn't. That's not how I would picture it. Well, actually, maybe I would. Yeah, because like I said, I made the Flash analogy. So because Flash is super fast, is what his superpower is. So that's why everything else.
Yeah,
around
right.
him
So it's
is slow.
technically
It says Bendeloy could be involved in the process of faster than light travel. If that gives you any
fuck?
idea.
Yeah, it does
oh
actually.
my god, wait.
What the?
I'm assuming
What
that
if
might
you-
be while using because they talk about
That's
how it
crazy.
can be used with Duralumim, so you might have to use it with Duralumim to do faster than light travel. But
Oh yeah, the thing that boosts them up.
yeah, so like if you somehow
Is that
have
just gonna be the space travel type of shit then?
it's
Yeah,
I think
probably.
that's what they're implying is that probably in Mistborn Space era they would probably use Bendeloy for faster than light travel.
That's interesting.
That's cool.
Yes. Trivia. Wait, here's trivia. Oh, here we go. The time dilation effect of Bendeloy was originally defined as compressing 2 minutes of time into 15 seconds without flaring the metal.
There you go.
This was changed at the Leatherbound release to leave the exact compression ratio ambiguous, so it sounds like that might be changed, but in general, it would be
Yeah, I'm just
2
gonna
minutes
say
into
it's that.
15 seconds. Yeah,
Alright, I'm gonna go do my math while you go through the rest of this.
yeah. So that there's the little math thing for you.
What
Is
was
on
it again?
average, assume that
What was it again?
2 minutes
15?
into 15 seconds when
Okay,
not
so-
flaring and not using Duralumim or anything like that.
Yeah.
Chapter 6. Wayne then drops the speed bubble and Wax puts up his Wayne drops the speed bubble and Wax puts up his steel bubble, thinking it will help until they start using aluminum bullets. Wax quickly shoots a bandit with a shotgun in the head and then shoots a second bandit. Guests scream and begin cowering behind tables. Wax drops the third man as some of the bandits begin shouting happily and opening fire. However, other bandits had seen that their friends were going down and began looking for cover. Wax then taps his iron metal mine to increase his weight, as they also increase his strength enough to support his added weight. He then raises his guns out of his steel bubble and begins pushing as tables and chairs with metal screws are shoved away from him. The added weight to his body allows him to push heavier objects. This also caused the people hiding at those tables to be pushed away, as Wax felt it was better for them to get some bruises than to be in the middle of the room during this fight. Wayne rides one of the tables towards some bandits in the far corner of the room. So what do you think about Wax being able to use his combination of steel pushing and increasing his weight to like push things even heavier objects?
That's smart.
Yeah, that is really cool.
I really like the combination because it's like it really helps where he's like, I can either push myself by making myself really light and pushing off something, or I can make myself heavier and push things really hard away from me. It was like a really cool combination of abilities, I feel like.
It does actually. I just think the two brothers are just have like the most insane combination.
They're not brothers. They're just friends.
What? Whatever.
They're not related.
They're practically everybody's related. Didn't we
They're
already?
best friends. They're
Didn't
probably
we
like
already
distant,
make this?
distant cousins.
Didn't we already make this assumption that everybody is related? Come on, everybody is.
Yeah, I also really like that. Like Wayne could technically probably use a speed bubble to recover his health really fast.
So just a quick little bit of the math. All right, a year outside the if you were spending it the entire time, a year outside the bubble or a year inside the bubble would be 8 years outside the bubble.
Damn.
If
So
you're
if you felt like a
if
year
you're
had
moving it like
passed,
that.
8 years would really have passed.
Yeah,
So wouldn't it be the? No, it'd be the opposite, wouldn't it? Because it's time's faster
other
for
way.
him
I mean,
inside
yeah,
the bubble.
yeah.
Yeah,
But,
so if,
yeah, right. Other way
so I guess if
around.
you're using
But-
if it was the opposite way around, yeah, if you were able to slow down
so like
time.
a year would pass, and for you 8 years. So you're getting older 8 times the rate of
Mhm.
everybody around you. But I'm just imagining like the person now, like a year later, you just see like, or not a year later, like 10 years later, this dude is just 80 years old, and the bubble goes away, and you just see this old man all of a sudden. Just like that's crazy.
So you said that once you put the bubble, it stays there, right?
Yes, you cannot move the bubble.
But you can
cannot
move
the bubble.
around in the bubble.
You can
and
move
the
around the
center
bubble.
of
You could also
will still
leave the
be
bubble,
there.
which then
What happens
puts you
if
back
you
in
leave the
normal
bubble?
time. It puts you back into normal time because they
What if
mentioned that
someone's
you
in
can.
the bubble?
Pardon?
What if someone's left in the bubble?
I mean, as long as you don't take
goes
down
the
the
wire.
bubble, they're still in like the little speed bubble.
Yeah, but they can just step out, right?
Okay, but so
he's saying,
no.
like, you
What I'm
leave
saying,
someone-
what
I
I'm
think he's saying like
so-
Wayne steps out of the bubble, Wax is still in the bubble, right?
yes.
Yeah. So I mean, as long as Wayne doesn't like stop burning Bendeloy, I believe Wax could still be in the bubble while Wayne is outside of the bubble.
Oh man,
Okay,
you could
but how
torture
the-
somebody like that.
But how like
I mean, Wax could also
how-
step out of the bubble though. You can't really torture.
No, but I
someone.
mean, like, here's an idea, right? Or actually,
Yeah.
Darkness, go ahead. You were on a thought. Go ahead. I will.
how would you even know when to like? I'm sorry. So let's say you're the one burning it. You leave someone in there, right? And you step out.
I'm assuming based
Like-
on Mythic's calculations that if you have a bubble up but you're outside the bubble, it would feel like your reserves of the metal are being used up 8 times more than they would be if you were inside the bubble.
What?
I'm assuming that's
I
how
would
it would
assume,
work.
yeah. I'm assuming. I mean, you're
Because the
spending
Bendeloy, I
it
believe, is
quickly.
based on the time in the speed bubble.
In the bubble, and technically, it's still going through the same amount of time, huh?
Yeah, because
Even if you're not in it.
yeah, so technically you're burning the Bendeloy at 8 times the speed it feels like you are, because when you're inside the bubble, time is like
Wait,
technically
so you
slower.
don't
Apparently spread
necessarily
out.
have to be in the bubble to keep the bubble there?
The thing is, though, yeah, I don't believe so, but the thing is, the bubble forms around you. So you'd have to be in the bubble and then step out of the bubble.
Originally.
Yeah.
Right. But can you imagine if you can do the opposite, which let's say the opposite metal thing or whatever does it, right?
Yeah, because we still don't know what, the original, the
If
metal.
you slow like the insides, right,
Mhm.
instead of the outside, you could just preserve something for the longest.
That's actually how, they actually don't need refrigerators, they just do that. Oh my god, imagine catering companies would be so good with that. You could just you cook it in your kitchen, bring it, and it's like, as
Have
if
you
it's
ever
been
get,
like
like-
10 seconds.
If you go to the grocery store and you like buy ice cream and you're like, fuck, it's kind of hot, it's gonna melt in the car, you just like pop the bubble there.
The thing is, though, you can't. I guess though you wouldn't be able to move it though, right? Like you can't move the bubble, so you'd have to leave the ice cream or the food or wherever it is, and then.
That's what I'm
come back
saying
to
though.
it.
You just store it in the car, you get in the fucking car where the bubble's supposed to go, and then just step out. Wait, would you be able to step out?
I think you'd be able to step out of the bubble.
Yeah, but it's like supposed to be slow, right?
So in the case if the opposite is like a slow bubble instead of a speed bubble, then I mean yeah, time would, as you're stepping out of it, time would be moving very quickly around you.
Wait. This is like hurting my brain. Because like,
Yeah.
so in this case, the inside is just moving very fast. I mean, very slow. Or-
So if
You
the
speed
opposite
up.
of if the opposite of a speed bubble is like a slow bubble, it would be the plate outside of the bubble is moving 8 times faster than inside of the bubble instead of 8 times
Right.
slower.
But so if you step out of the bubble, is it still moving fast as fuck, and you're still in that?
No, it
same-
would probably I think it adjusts your perspective. So now you feel like you moved the exact same, but then instead of everything around you moving faster, it feels like everything in the bubble's moving slower now because you're outside the bubble. I believe your body
And
adjusts.
what if you would put both? Would it just move time normally?
if you had like a slow bubble on a speed bubble?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm assuming you could like counteract the other one by putting one on the other.
Okay. I'm gonna put like half a bubble. I'm gonna have someone lay down, and I'll put the bubble on one half and the other bubble on the other half, and just see how it works out.
Oh my gosh, that sounds horrible. I feel like you'd like destroy their body or something doing
But
that.
like the bottom half is just like really old and wrinkly.
Like, well, no, I feel like almost they wouldn't be able to get like blood or oxygen to like half
Real
their
quick.
body.
Real quick, it
Yeah.
slows time inside the bubble, right? Is what you said?
Yeah. No. So
Slow
technically,
bubble?
yeah. So if
It's the other way around then. It's the
yeah,
other way around. A year to you is 8 years to everybody else then. If it slows inside the bubble, you're slowing time inside the bubble, only a year would pass inside the bubble, and 8 years would pass outside the bubble then.
yeah. So
No,
You're
yeah,
slowing
but
down
that's
time.
for
that's for the
that's for the
opposite one.
slowing bubble.
That's for the potential
Oh,
opposite
okay.
one.
Oh, okay. I thought you said. I thought that's.
No,
What,
the one you made the calculations for was for the fast one in the
oh,
bubble.
okay. Yeah, okay. That's why I was
Yeah.
confused.
Yeah.
Okay.
No. Darkness was saying if the like original metal that Bendeloy is the alloy of makes like basically a slow bubble, he was contemplating like the effects of what that could do because we don't
Gotcha.
technically know what
Yeah.
the final metal
The opposite.
does.
Yeah.
We don't know what it actually does yet.
I believe you do get what
It's
the final
called
metal is during this book.
Okay.
it's called the alloy of law, right?
Yes.
So like what if it's just completely unrelated to the metal we have right now? And it's just like it gives you like a sheriff badge.
I'm pretty sure this is just supposed to be like a metaphor. Like there's not an actual alloy of
No,
law.
no. You don't know that yet. We don't know that yet.
I think it's like supposed to be like a
No,
a
no, Midnight.
metaphor to
Enough
how
with the
Wax
spoilers,
treats the
Midnight.
law.
No, enough with the spoilers. You already told us that Yasmin doesn't
Oh my
die
god.
Oh
and
my
all
god.
this other shit, and now you're telling us that there's no
The bandits
alloy of
begin
law.
firing at Wax.
Nuh-uh.
But
Nuh-uh.
he stops them with his steel bubble and pushes them back towards the bandits, although not too hard in case any bystanders get in the way. The bandits begin shouting there is a coin shot, and sorry, I hiccuped. Wax begins storing his weight instead of tapping it. He shoots the floor to push himself into the air and over the wall of furniture. He then begins shooting at the bandits with both guns. Some men fired back, but Wax easily pushed away their bullets as one of the bandits shouted for them to get out their aluminum. Wax shoots the man before going for cover behind a table to stop the bullets being fired at him. A bandit then tries to come around the table, but Wax pushes the man's gun into the man's face and shoots him with his last bullet in one of his guns. His other gun only had 2 bullets left. He then sees 2 bandits loading their guns with aluminum bullets and shoots at them, increasing his weight and pushing on the bullets to make them shoot straight through the thick oak table and into the bandits that were hiding behind. He then hops to the other side of the table to take shelter as more bandits come to shoot at him. He drops his 2 guns and pulls out a third from his calf holster. He glances briefly over at Wayne to see 4 vanishers down and another one falling as Wayne uses a speed bubble to avoid bullets. So what do you think about Wax using the tables as cover and his general strategy for dealing with the bandits?
Low-key, I'm surprised. So, I was very surprised that there wasn't, like, more casualties and stuff. I could get the people only wanted to, like, destroy and stuff, but, like, you already committed a crime, just kill them.
Yeah, I mean, I think what happened was, like, him and Wayne were taking down the bandit so quickly that they're like, I have to fight this guy specifically, otherwise I'm dead.
Yeah, but I'm petty enough to be like, oh, they really don't want me to hurt these people, so I'm just doing it. Fuck it with my, like, dying breath.
So Wax stops using his steel bubble as the bandits are using aluminum bullets now, but he can still see the blue lines pointing to their guns. Wax glances over to the bandit leader who had stopped by the door. He had sent stares out with one of the other bandits, and now he was watching them. Wax suddenly recognizes the man as Miles, who was a lawman out in the roughs with Wax and Wayne previously.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, when he said that, I was like, what?
Yeah. That's
Wax,
exactly what I said too when the audiobook said it. So.
Miles. Wax then
Miles.
hears Marassi scream and sees her having gone limp in the
Morales.
colas-blooded man's arms as he tries to drag her across the room. She knew he wanted her specifically and wouldn't shoot her, even though he had a gun to her head. Wax praises her for her quick thinking. So what do you think about Marassi's attempts to resist the kidnapping?
Yeah, man, you had to try, I guess.
She's
Who the
became
fuck does
dead
she
weight.
think she is?
She thinks she's about to get kidnapped, and she's trying to do her best she can to like not get kidnapped. So Wax
She's not that special that she can't get kidnapped, though.
apparently she is because she didn't get kidnapped.
Yeah, exactly.
They let her go.
Apparently she did something really good.
They got what they wanted.
Wax uses a metal serving plate to stop more bullets from coming at him, and then shoots down the 2 men next to the man holding Marassi. However, the colas-blooded man had an aluminum gun, and he puts Marassi between himself and Wax. Wax freezes, thinking of Leslie's death. The man seems to realize Wax won't shoot, and he goes to shoot Wax, but Marassi headbutts him in the chin to make his shot go wide. Wax then shoots down the man before grabbing Marassi and shooting at the leader of the bandits in the head. The man goes down, which makes Wax think that he was wrong about it being Miles, because Miles was a very specific and dangerous type of twin-born. So what powers do you think Miles could have that would keep him from that make him survive a bullet to the head?
Spider powers.
Sorry, what? Excuse me?
Spider powers.
Regenerative powers.
Because the thing is, Wayne has gold healing, but he says later on, like, if the guy had shot him in the head, he'd be dead. So the fact that apparently Miles can be shot in the head and not die.
It's wild.
Yup.
Wait.
He has regenerative powers, though.
So you think it's gold and then maybe something else that combines well with it to like help him survive that better?
Is Duralumin a misting thing?
Yeah, the Duralumin that makes things stronger, it would be
So-
an Allomancer power, so...
Why not just Duralumin and like the fucking healing fairy coming gold?
That's a good question. I wonder if you can Duralumin Ferrochemy powers. Because
Probably.
previously when we've seen Duralumin, obviously like no one that was a Duralumin Misting or Mistborn had Ferrochemy
Right.
powers. So yeah, we don't know. Maybe he is a...
But we
Duralumin
wanted
misting.
to. I'm pretty sure I've said it before. But
Yeah.
we wanted to see
About
like
the horse.
a fairy cat. No.
Yeah, that
Awesome,
too.
yes.
Yes, that
Good
too.
idea. Anyone watching, like, tell the author instantly. But I was talking about how I wanted to see how it would affect Say's, like, and I've said it in so many sessions before.
Mhm.
Where, like, can you imagine if it does, like, amplify it?
Yeah,
Oh,
I mean,
so
the only person
the-
we know that would have been able to do that previously was the Lord Ruler, and we didn't really get him explaining his powers very well.
Yeah, but he didn't use Duralumin, right? Because they didn't find that yet, right?
No, he knew about it, because remember, they only find out about it partially because of him.
Right.
So he did know. So he potentially could have. I mean, the only reason
Maybe.
he died was because Vin got rid of all the guy's metal mines, right?
Mhm.
So that would have gotten rid of his gold ferrochemy. I think they initially explained it though as him compounding metal. He compounded gold to get the gold stronger. Because if you have the same allomantic and ferrochemical ability, you can compound it.
Mhm.
So yeah, so Wax is out of bullets, so he pushes off his gun that he throws at the still alive, colas-blooded man and sends him and Marassi out onto one of the balconies. Marassi thanks him, rambling about how most kidnappings can be stopped with resistance. Wax cuts her off as he notices two vanishers coming up to the balcony. He increases his weight and pushes on a large harp that gets flung into the men and crushes them against a wall. He checks to make sure the men won't be a problem before taking their guns. Wax states that he's going to go after Steris, but then suddenly sees a bandit standing over a bleeding Wayne. He thinks that Steris will be fine since they need her for some reason, and he needs to help Wayne. He hands Marassi a pistol and tells her to start shooting if she gets threatened. He then destroys one of the chandeliers by increasing his weight and pushing on it as he falls from the balcony, and then lightens his weight and pushes on the broken harp to fly through the room. Wax shoots 6 rounds into the man standing over Wayne before he reaches Wayne, and Wayne puts back up a speed bubble. He had dropped his previous speed bubble so that the man thought he was dead, and he didn't shoot him in the head. Wayne says he has enough health stored to probably heal 1 more bullet wound, as he's already taken 2. Wayne then tells Wax that there are 7 men left in the room. Wayne also implies that Wax is interested in Marassi, but Wax replies that Leslie had barely been gone for a year now. So yeah, what do you think about Wayne playing dead so that the bandit wouldn't actually kill him?
Smart.
What would he have done if he just didn't get help,
anyways.
though? Yeah.
I'm assuming he was just hoping the guy would leave him alone if he didn't get help, and that hopefully he'd have a chance to put up a speed bubble at some point before he bled out.
Well, he doesn't really need to do anything but just activate it to put it up, right?
Well, yeah, but if someone's in close enough range, they'll know, because they're, like, in the bubble as
Right.
well.
So he would just have to, like, leave. The thing is, at that point, he's fine. Wax really should have gone for the other dude.
Yeah, I agree. But here's the thing I have a problem with, and it's just I might just be thinking wrong here, but if his bubble speeds up time inside, right? Like everything else is around you is like slower, right?
Mhm.
Wouldn't that speed up his bleeding out though?
No, because well, technically, I think the main point is, I think me saying he would bleed out is wrong. Is basically like because he is healing, so he can heal himself inside the speed bubble, obviously faster because no one's around. So like it's the same amount of time for him to heal, but he can do it without anyone seeing.
I gotcha. Okay.
Whereas
yeah,
if the guy's standing over him, if he starts healing, the guy knows he's not dead.
yeah, okay, that's what I was confused because, like I said, if it's sped him
Yeah,
up,
no,
the blood would
I
speed
said
up.
that wrong.
But I feel like what it actually here's how my headcanon, and it's probably kind of true, but is he puts up the bubble, right? Because this is why they speed up at the end. He puts up the bubble. For him, it's moving at normal time.
Yes.
For him, right? Everybody else is slow, but he's really moving fast.
Yeah.
So obviously everything he's moving faster. So he could be like, "Oh, I patched myself up, blah blah blah," and then when everything goes back, it has to correct to what the time difference would be. So it speeds everything up real fast, and that's why they do that whole thing right at the end.
Yeah, so basically what happens is outside of the bubble, for you, it feels like time's still moving quickly. And the people inside the bubble just look like they've moved in like a blur, like the Flash. And so if you're talking, you go like, and so if they don't want people to know they've been in a speed bubble talking, because usually what they'll do when they're in a speed bubble and talking is they just won't move so that no one sees anything weird. But because they're talking, you're going to hear that. So they cough at the end to make it sound like they were just like, ugh, cough, cough, cough. Right? So that it's like, oh, it wasn't a speed bubble weird noise. It was just them coughing.
Yeah. Okay.
I think, though, it probably wouldn't work for people looking for it still. I think it's mostly if you're trying to do it without people knowing who wouldn't really know anyways. Like, you would probably be weirded out and think about it more if you heard that weird noise. But if you're not actually thinking about it and know that person can use speed bubbles, you might not look for it otherwise. Type thing.
Type shit.
Yeah. So I'm assuming Wayne, like... Because if these guys, these bandits, don't know who Wayne is, I'm assuming they don't know that he can heal himself with gold. So they probably think he can only use the speed bubble. And so they're not expecting him to go into the speed bubble to heal up quickly. They're just like, oh, I killed him, he's dead. He can't heal, right?
Here's the thing, though, right? If he went and, like, let's say he backed up, the guy obviously now knows he's alive. He put up a speed bubble instantly, like quickly. He could dodge the bullet. Like,
well, the thing was, the guy was too close. Remember, he was standing over him. He can't dodge the bullet because the guy was in the speed bubble range.
Yeah, it would be in the speed bubble. That's what I'm saying. But if he quickly backed up and activated his ability,
he was lying on the floor. I think
only
it would have
5
been,
feet.
I think it would have been too, like, the guy would have shot him too quickly for him to get out of the way and put up the speed bubble, but like get out of the way far enough to put up the speed bubble. I think that's what he was worried
These guys
about.
don't seem that good, so.
But once the speed bubble drops, Wax sends Wayne flying by pushing on his metal mines while increasing his weight. He then stores his weight as he launches himself into the air. Wayne lands first, hitting the bandits near him with his dueling canes in the arm and neck. He pushes his gun. Waxen pushes his gun at one of the bandits near him, and then the bullet casing from Wayne through another man like it was a bullet itself. He then slams his forearm into a man, his metal mine bracer helping to damage him. Waxen suddenly hears a gunshot, but he doesn't see a bullet near him. Instead, he turns to see the final bandit near him drop to the ground. He swears by the survivor's scars and turns to see Marassi with a rifle shooting at the bandits. Wayne is shocked.
Survivor, yay.
Wayne is shocked as Wax points at Marassi and says he prefers her of the two cousins. Wax then hurries off to go find Steris, knowing that the bandit leader's body was gone, and he wonders if it really had been Miles. Once he gets outside, he sees the bandits and Steris are completely gone, although a group of constables had arrived. Also, I just had a thought while I was reading that swearing by the survivor's scars is exactly like swearing by Harmony's forearms, because Kelsier's scars were on his forearms. So he's again basically saying, the survivor's forearms.
It's so weird when you know exactly who the fuck they're swearing by.
Right? I find it really interesting.
So.
Yeah, it's really cool seeing, like, we saw Mistborn Era 1 when these were just, like, characters in the book, and now they're, like, historical figures or like, gods and stuff like that. Like, religions are based around them. And it's like, we knew, like, Spook's like, Lord Mistborn, he was like, everyone's like, oh my god, the Lord Mistborn. It's like, we knew him as, like, the awkward kid who was trying to flirt with Vin and failing.
Right.
Like, it's really interesting to see things like that.
Yep, to see where gods were born, yep, for sure.
But also, what do you think about Marassi taking down some of the bandits with a rifle?
That was badass.
Almost as badass as, I gotta remember here real quick, Wayne giving an aluminum gun with rifle bullets.
He's like, what? Don't all guns use the same bullets?
Yeah.
Wayne apparently does not use guns.
I loved that part. It was so funny.
Which it makes sense that Wayne doesn't use bullets, because they say, I think in the first couple chapters, that, like, shooting bullets into or out of a speed bubble, like, really fucks with the trajectory.
So, but that would make it more fun, though, because then you don't know who's gonna get hit.
I think when there's a lot of bystanders around that you're trying not to hit, it's not fun. Maybe if you're surrounded,
that don't matter.
It'd be fun.
At that point, it's not your fault.
Oh my gosh. I don't think Wax would see it that way. Also, what do you think about the fact that the bandits escaped with Steris?
I mean, they got what they wanted.
I mean, technically they got half of what they wanted.
Well, but the thing is, they're from the same fucking line.
Yeah, but it sounds like they're trying to like collect a whole bunch of women from the line. So,
What if they're just making a co-os of like all the people related to him, so I
oh
can
my
see if they can make
gosh,
Mistborn again?
what did you think, Mythic, about them getting away with Steris?
That's gonna be a bad idea for them. She's a yapper.
Or what if like, so you know how they're all descended from Spook, right?
Yeah.
What if like each one of them got a different power and they're just trying to collect them all?
Random stones. Collecting the fucking stone.
I mean, yeah, they say Steris isn't an Allomancer, but maybe she's like an aluminum misting, and that's why they don't think she's an Allomancer, because like
That's
she
what
just
I'm
has one of
saying,
the
bro.
useless
Like,
abilities. It's like, no, she is an Allomancer. She just has a super fucking useless ability that literally doesn't
oh,
work
I
if you
was
don't have
also
others.
thinking like, yeah, maybe they think they're not an Allomancer, but like also we don't know if snapping is a thing and if they've snapped yet. So
It's true. Maybe they're gonna go torture them all to see if they snap.
right, that gives me flashbacks to that one group
In
in
Stormlight.
yeah.
Yeah, the group that like tried to kill themselves to get radiant powers.
Yeah.
Tef's family. Tef's family's cult. The Invisagers, I believe they were called. But yeah, so we skip forward in time a bit to Constable Breton telling Wax that he had made a huge mess of the situation. They were sitting in the kitchens of the Yeoman Manor when the constables had partitioned off an area for interviews. Wax thinks that this man, who was in charge of the constables in this octant, was likely under a lot of pressure due to the robberies. Wax speaks to him calmly, saying that his habits are hard to break and that he had a moral responsibility to help when things started getting violent. Another constable then comes into the room and says that 25 bandits were killed, 6 captured alive, and there was only one bystander death, which was the death of the ex-constable. Constable Breton walks away with his lieutenant for a moment before coming back over to Wax to say he was just lucky that no one was killed, and that the people who got injured would be complaining. Wax just states his strategy for the fight. Breton then continues to state that he is the one in control of this area of the city, but Wax asks where he was when the people started getting shot in the head. Wax insults the man a little bit more before Breton allows Wax to leave, and Wax heads back into the ballroom. He sees Lord Harms looking upset, with Marassi comforting him, and Wax standing bored at the same table. So what do you think about how Constable Breton treated Wax and Wax's attempt to stop the kidnapping?
Talking about the dude who fucking yapped the whole time?
Yeah, he was like, this is all your fault, the people got injured and everything, and then he
Yeah,
finds out that
all
no
his
bystanders got killed except for the one guy who, like, basically did it to himself. He's like, well,
Yeah.
you got lucky, and Wax is like, I didn't get lucky, this was my strategy for how I
Yeah, there
made
was
sure no
literally
one got hurt.
35 of them. How did I get lucky, dude?
I mean, there was more than 35 of them. He killed 35.
Yeah, there were 35 people in that room. Okay, like, that are dead. Like, how did I get lucky, man?
Right?
Like, what?
It was 2 against like 40 people. What do you mean I got
Yeah.
lucky?
Mhm.
So Wax then goes over to the table, and Wayne hands him an aluminum gun and some bullets, although they're the wrong bullets for the gun. Wax then speaks to Lord Harms, who asks if Steris will be let go, but when Wax doesn't reply, he asks if any of the other women have been let go, which Wax states they hadn't. Lord Harm begs Wax to go find Steris, and Wax promises that he will, although he thinks it's ironic that someone who would condemn his time in the roughs would then ask for his help when they need it. Lord Harms then goes off to be by himself for a bit, and Marassi states that he wishes she had been kidnapped instead of Steris. Wax then asks after his lucky hat again, but Wax replies that the man left with it. Wax then asks Marassi about her skills with a gun.
Usually they drop it when they get shot, though. Like,
He's like, yeah, no, he left with it. He's like, but it was my lucky hat. I've never died wearing that hat.
I mean, he's not wrong. He didn't have it on when he almost died, so...
Yeah, so Wax asks after Marassi's skills with a gun, and she states she's part of a ladies' target shooting club. She also asks about the men that she shot, and Wayne replies that they're dead. Wayne asks about the man with his hat that Wax shot, but Wax says he was Koloss blood and may have also been a Pewterim. Wax then asks if Steris was an Allomancer, but Marassi replies that she is sure Steris is not an Allomancer nor a ferochemist. Wax walks Marassi and Lord Harms out to their carriage on his way out with Wayne. Marassi then thanks him for saving her and gives him a kiss on the cheek before getting into her carriage. Wayne asks if Wax is going to marry Marassi's cousin, to which Wax says that's the plan. Wayne calls that awkward. Wax replies that Marassi is half of his age. He thinks that in the past she would have been his type, but now he barely gives her a passing thought. Wax then asks where Wayne was staying, which was apparently in an empty house that the people were likely to be back to soon.
Oh my god.
Wax
When
offers
he said that.
Yeah, Wax offers a room at his place as long as Wayne doesn't steal, and Wayne insists that he never steals.
Yeah, no, I totally trade things, you know?
Yeah.
Things that are of equal value to what I took. Yeah, wonderful.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so like I know.
A picture of this item that I stole.
But yeah, Dark, as you were saying, you were wondering who Wax is going to pick. It definitely seems like Wax isn't interested in Marassi at the moment. He's like, she probably used to be my type, but I'm really not interested.
Yeah, I want the younger girl.
No, Marassi is the younger girl. He's specifically saying Marassi is
Oh.
not his type.
Never mind.
Huh.
Yeah, he's kind of making it like, yeah, I'm really just not interested in her, thanks. So we got our overview questions. First of all, what do you think the goal of the Vanishers is, considering they have kidnapped Steris, who is apparently definitely not an Allomancer or a fair chemist?
Goal is to have a family reunion.
Yeah. I'm gonna stick with like most of what we said for it actually, which is like either
She hasn't
either a
snapped or she
family
has a useless power.
either a family reunion, which I actually wanted to happen. She hasn't snapped and so haven't the others. Hey, and they're trying to get him to snap for whatever reason. Or they're just trying to create a Mistborn again.
Also, do you
And
oh, sorry,
even
go
if
ahead.
like I'm sorry, even if it means, a little bit of a Lord Ruler situation.
Also, do you think Miles, who is a lawman, is actually involved in the Vanishers? Do you think he was actually that bandit like leader guy?
Yes. I think Miles was the person. Yep. For sure.
Mm, his spidey sense would have saved him.
I mean, apparently he might not be dead. His corpse disappeared. He got shot in the head, but then
Yeah,
his body was
mhm.
gone, just like how Yasna got stabbed
no.
through the heart, and then her body was gone.
If their bodies are gone, even in real life, it's not over.
Do you think he went into Shadesmar?
No. Shadesmar went into him.
Oh, okay. Also, what do you think about the hostilities between Wax and the Constables, and do you think those are going to continue throughout the book? Or do you
Yeah.
think he's going to work with them?
100%. No. I mean, he might work with them, but there's hostility still going to be there because of that.
Do you agree, Mythic?
Yeah.
Also,
I'm just imagining now the opposite bubble, and like if it slows time for you inside, right? Like, could you pop the bubble, like, and then like if a bullet was firing at you, you pop the bubble and the bullet like slows down as it hits the bubble, kind of thing. Would be pretty cool.
Well, I mean, as long as Wayne doesn't die this book, we should get more stuff about speed bubbles throughout the books.
Oh, great.
As long as he doesn't die, yeah.
Also, do you think Wax is going to be able to save Steris and the other women, or do you
Yes.
think they're going to get killed or something?
No, I don't think they're dying.
No, they're not dying.
Also, do you think that that'll happen this book, or do you think this is going to be some sort of like overarching plot for multiple books?
Dog's going crazy. Give me 1 second.
I say let it burn. No, but I think they're gonna be found this book. I'm not saying it's gonna get resolved. I'm saying they're gonna be found this book.
Also, I'm not sure. I'm assuming Mythic will still have his headphones on, but I'm not sure. But just so you know, technically, this book, when it was originally conceptualized by Brandon, was supposed to be a standalone book. Which then, while he was writing, he was like, "I really need to make this a whole different era."
Yes,
so
I have
technically,
my
Era 2 was supposed to be the Cold War era, and this was just supposed to be like an in-between kind of book, kind of like Edge Dancer is for Stormlight. But then he like started writing it. He's like, "Nah, I'm doing a whole fucking era of these characters."
Yeah,
So,
I want more of these characters for sure.
Yeah, so I feel like that's why, I mean, we haven't gotten into it super far, but a lot of people find Alloy of Law to be a pretty weak book of Brandon's, and I think it's partially because his original plot was a one-book thing that he then, like, changed up partway through, so I think you can kind of feel that, especially by the end of the book. You guys will see that, like, it feels like it was going to be resolved in one book, and then he, like, was like, oh no, I'm going to keep these characters going, so I've got other stuff I'm going to put in to make sure that, like, there's stuff that happens for later books. But yeah. So that was all our overview questions. Do you guys have any thoughts or theories?
Aside from Miles Morales, stopping a Canon event. Yeah.
That's crazy. I didn't know it was gonna be a collab.
Do you think we guys were gonna see like Kelsey or anyone in this book?
Not in this book. There's no way. But I do hope we do see them.
I hope Kelsier's in this book. He's a god after all.
Do we think Sage is gonna show up? Is he gonna like come appear to someone or anything?
He's gonna show up for sure.
I mean, didn't he already technically show up though?
I mean, it was kind of not completely sure if he responded.
It's implied.
It was implied that he's kind of like
Okay, but he was there.
thinking back. Like we didn't see him physically, but it was implied that he was listening to Wax's prayer.
Yeah, just like with Starvation and Ruin, and
Yeah.
so, he's ambiguously there.
But do you think like he's gonna like show up? Like, are we gonna see like Sazed like actually show up, or is it just gonna be like hints that he's around still?
I just
I think it'll
remembered.
always be hints, to be honest.
Sage doesn't have a dig, does he?
He did
Maybe
not.
he gave himself one.
He might have given himself one. He definitely didn't before he ascended.
I mean, I kind of like. Could he bring back his little girlfriend?
I
No.
don't think so because she had already moved on to the Beyond. I believe Say specifically says at either the end of Hero of Ages or during Mistborn's Secret History, he says like once people are in the Beyond, even he as a god cannot like interact with them.
But But that's the thing, though. Like, how do we know that she moved on?
Yeah, because I believe
I mean,
we
Kelsier
would
stayed alive.
He
we
said something about
we
it.
would have seen her in Miss Born Secret History if she had sticked around in
No, I'm
the
pretty sure he said something about it too.
I think he can get like a bit of impressions from people. He's like I can feel like that this like mayor was happy for you, Kelsey, or something. Like he can get like I'm gonna get mad at me because of the word. He can feel like the vague impressions of it, but
The
um
bag of impressions and
mhm.
shit.
But like he can't actually physically see them or bring them back from the beyond. Like that's too far for even the shards to do. Which is partially because Brandon specifically says he doesn't want to delve into afterlife stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Because of his religion and
because
just
of his religion, also he just like feels for like anyone,
Well, I mean,
whatever your
yeah,
religion can
like
be,
that's
you
what
can
I'm
kind
saying.
of
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Because he is a religious person. He doesn't want to push that religion onto other people
yeah.
because if he wrote about it, it would be very
Yeah,
coded.
he doesn't want to like force his opinions on people, and also I think he said that he likes that like different characters and different like peoples in his like in the Cosmere can have different beliefs about the beyond without them being proven like, oh, this religion's wrong in the Cosmere even.
Yeah. Mhm.
So but yeah, so next week we are again only doing 3 chapters, so we're gonna be doing chapters 7 to 9.
It's just gonna be 3 chapters always. I
I
swear.
think some of them are 4, but it's mostly 3.
Oh man, so much more.
Yeah, yeah. It's just less chapters
I
because they're longer
literally finished
chapters.
these 3 chapters in an hour. So
Did you?
yeah, like I literally finished them. I started because I woke up late. I started at 1 o'clock my time and finished 2 o'clock, and then jumped in here.
Yeah. Unfortunately,
Granted, I was like maybe 5 minutes in already because I started listening to it right after the podcast. But
yeah. It also looks like unfortunately next episode's going to be a little bit shorter than this one. Just because of
oh
the chapters
no,
are really annoying. They're all like compared to like Stormlight and stuff, they're
oh
all
no,
quite long. So it's really hard to section them away from certain things because
oh
like
no,
it's like if I make this one an extra chapter, then either all of the chapters are going to be like an extra, like all of the episodes are going to be like either an extra hour or we're going to have like one extra short episode. So this one's going to be a little shorter next week. It'll probably be closer to last week's in length.
oh no, less time with you guys. Oh no.
Wow. But yeah, so next week is chapters 7 through 9. And then before we go, I want to thank our Patreons, which is Hubris, Kaladin Dies in Book 3, and Kyle. Thank you guys so much. Please don't forget to check out
Unless
our
you're getting slower
Patreon.
every time.
I said, please don't forget to check out our Patreon. It is the Shardbreaker
Mhm.
podcast. Even if you are just there on like a free membership, please feel free to do that because there are discussion boards that people can talk in if you want to. And I also post when I update the like podcast websites with the new chapters, so you'll know about that and everything. And I put little updates in there. So yeah, please feel free. Even if you don't want to pay, please go check out our Patreon. We really appreciate it. And thank you guys all so much for listening. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.